Hey, happy Wednesday to everybody. I want to welcome you to Moments of Clarity. It's another day. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. While you're in, tap the screen, share the live. It's all great vibes. Listen, if you have not checked out Coming to America, go ahead and close out. We're going to put all the spoilers, we're going to put all the business out in the streets today as it relates to Coming to America, which was a pretty dope movie. I'm excited to be talking to my bros, James, Simon, and Delwin Eiland. We're gonna be giving all the tea away today. So listen, if you haven't watched it, go ahead and catch up with us later when you have watched the episode or when you've watched the show. Listen, strap in, share the live, share the vibes. We're gonna talk about Coming to America, the second round. After this quick break, we'll see you in a second. Hey, welcome back. Listen, so it's Moments of Clarity. We're here with my homies in the studio. These are, listen, two amazing recording artists, and they just happen to be my bros. And they ain't talking, this ain't stuff we just talk about just to say we're actually bros for real. We look out for each other. We take care of each other. And we're going to take care of what we watch, too. So this has been a highly anticipated movie that I know I've watched growing up, and I know, listen, I can sit down and watch that first episode and know all the lines. So I'm that much of a fan of the first movie. But Eddie Murphy tried his hand at a second attempt to the movie, so we're going to get some pros and cons to that today. I want to welcome first to the studio, James. Welcome to Moments of Clarity. Welcome back, bro. You a fan favorite. Welcome back, bro.
What's happening? How's everybody doing? What's up? Good to be here again, man.
Hey, listen, Jamie. So you actually had some talk time yesterday doing your show. Talk to me about the same subject. Y'all were talking about Coming to America as well, yeah?
Yeah, we did. Actually, the show yesterday is the Random Matters show.
Random Matters. See, I'm out here wrong in these streets. Guess that's fine. You have me. It's okay.
That's all good. No, we wanted to jump on it, man, because over the weekend, after the release of the film, we had been seeing and hearing a whole lot of opinions. Most of which were negative. And we kind of wanted to wait and give it a few days for people to actually see the film before we start.
Sure.
But we did have a chance to talk about it yesterday. And I will say that mostly on our show, it was pretty positive feedback. I think you kind of jumped in at the end. I know Delwin was on for most of it. It was pretty positive for the most part, and that just leads me to think that most of the people that watch our show are kind of on the same wavelength as we. It was pretty good though.
Yeah. So I think that's dope, and I think so. You know, I understand both sides of it though. So I definitely understand the positive feedback of it, which I mean, Eddie Murphy's a genius in a lot of ways, and I think he's still as a producer, writer, I think he's still sort of kind of underrated a bit. And that could be to his own sort of kind of thing that he does to a degree, but we'll talk about some of that later. But I promise we got so many. I understand both sides. So I understand people that have issues with it. But I'm definitely more in the vein of where you was with the positive. Like I was like, man, because it celebrated a lot. So Delwin, tell me how many times you watched it so far.
I've seen it 1.5 times.
So just from your original just knee-jerk reaction, what do you think about it?
I was feeling it, man. I was feeling it, and I'll tell you, I didn't go in expecting for anything to match the first movie.
Gotcha.
The first movie, man, was one of a kind. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And they weren't trying to do a remake; they was doing a sequel. You know, and not only is the franchise 30 years older, but the main characters are all 30 years older also. And so, you know, with maturity, I feel like they matured as human beings and gave us something that, you know, wasn't a 20-something-year-old man's movie. It was it was something for people a little bit older, at least the main characters.
Gotcha.
So I loved it.
I appreciate all those elements too. Jamie, I said, who you talking? You talking to God? Doc?
Everything. No, listen. It's a game on TV, man. I'm watching the basketball game and succession.
Dude, listen.
God is a Jew. Hear my Lord.
So Jamie, so let's talk about it. So from the top of the movie to the beginning, what are some of the things you all talked about on yesterday, Random Matters, as it relates to, if any, what was some of the negative things that you're a writer, so you write. All of us write. So we write music, but we also, can write treatments and write treatments for videos and write treatments for film. I'm in the middle of finishing up a film project that I'm working on as well, and a web series project that I'm working on as well. So we all are writers. So from a writer's perspective, what did you have any negatives for it, or you walked into it with certain levels of expectation?
Well, honestly, my expectation was kind of chill. I really wasn't trying to do much with my expectation on this, because with me, most times, because of my mind and my imagination, my expectation most of the time exceeds the actual thing. So I try to just chill. I mean, what I'm talking about, for whatever, for music, for
I get it.
media and movies, my expectation, because of my imagination, is always really vibrant. And so I had come up with several treatments in my head about how things, because again, they gave us the initial synopsis of the film maybe about a year ago, almost a year ago. And so the whole time, me and guys, my pop and some of my family members, because we love the movie so much, we have been trying to come up with how in the world, because we've seen Coming to America, and we talked about it yesterday, how many times we've seen the movie, over 30 times at least.
Yep.
That's all, number. But definitely we've seen that every time it comes on TV, we're going to watch it. It's that special. It to the Black community, that's what it is to us. And so we were trying to come up with, hey man, we've seen this movie over and over again, and I know that there was not one point in this film where Eddie Murphy, as a king, had another chick. So now here was what happened in my head. Here was one of my treatments. I said that the guys that came to America that he saw at the basketball game, the guys that walked up to,
It is you. Yeah.
Those guys. In my head, I was saying maybe a chick came with them from Zamunda that Eddie had dealt with prior to him sowing his oats, as the story went. And because he was not supposed to be with her, she fled Zamunda and went to New York. And that was what happened, right? So we were just trying to figure it out. So the question you asked was there anything negative? I don't think there was anything negative in the storyline. As a matter of fact, I absolutely loved the story itself. I think they did a great job at this adaptation, and where we went from the last movie to this one. I love the storyline. I absolutely love the storyline, everything that it entailed. And so, I didn't have any negative things about the storyline. I mean, yeah, so no.
Let me say that when I first saw the trailer and what they were doing, I'll be honest with you, as a writer, I definitely start huffing, puffing, and cussing. Oh yeah, because in my brain, logically, I'm like, now when did this happen? You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I knew they were fill in the blanks, but I think to put it out there like that, you have a son. I'm like, that's some old boy. So I mean, so I'm telling you, and that's my immediate knee-jerk reaction. I'm like, Eddie, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me, y'all. Don't do this. I'm like, I'd rather you not touch it if y'all gonna play games with my emotions like that. And again, so it was just that was my initial knee-jerk reaction. But I'm a huge fan of Eddie Murphy, and I actually like some films by him that most people don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like I like Norbit. As weird as the movie was, as horrible. Let me say this: as horrible as the script was,
Hey,
but
man.
when you got a character in there like Respucia, dog.
Hey, don't get started on no Norman, man. Come on,
man, dog. I'm telling you, man. I love Norbit. I love all those weird movies, those quirky ones. 1,000 Words, man. Oh my god. Actually, one of my favorites, man. I love it for the messaging, if nothing else. Was just, I mean, right there in the pocket. It was great. So I'm a huge Eddie Murphy fan, as an actor, as a writer, all the stuff he does. I'm a huge fan. So if Eddie Murphy does anything, I'm gonna come check it out. But my knee jerk reaction at first was when I saw the trailer and I was like, they're stressing me out. So Delwin, where were you when So tell me where you was as a writer when you found out what the story concept was going to be.
I think I was pretty late to the game, and I was more so just excited about checking it out. I started watching Coming to America. Yeah, maybe all of us saw movies when we were shorties that we didn't have no business watching. And so I was like 5 talk about sweat from a baboon's ball. and so I mean it took me a minute, as a shorty to really kind of understand the story, to understand the movie and understand some of the humor. So I never really poked holes. I never really poke holes in the story. For me, it was like it's always nostalgia when I get the chance to, to check it out. And so I really watched the movie with fresh eyes. And when they got to the part where you got a bastard son, you got a bastard son from Atlantic Queens, I was like, it took me like, okay, how is this gonna happen? And then when they did like the new flashback scene, taking them back to the club or whatever, I was like, wow, it was amazing just the way that they did it. And so for me, even that was like, okay, that felt like they did the absolute best they could to take us back to that moment with makeup and costumes and the whole nine to bring us to that moment. And so for me, it was like, even if haven't seen a preview, I thought about any gaps in the story. The way they did it was so funny, man. It was funny and just extremely well done. So yeah, I was all about it.
Listen, I agree with that, and I promise you, again, that's me putting things together in my brain when I finally when I saw the trailer and they said, okay, you have a son in Queens, and so in my brain, I promise you, I'm trying to figure this is gonna take y'all out. So brace yourself. I don't know what y'all got to do. Don't drink nothing right now. I'm just being honest with you, as a human being. So in my brain trying to put the story together, I'm thinking, okay, so I remember they went to the basketball game, right, and I remember they went with Lisa's sister. Listen, can we say how bad Lisa still looks? Like Lisa is like, Nick, listen, okay, we'll come back to that.
Hey, man.
Listen, so when I saw, okay, somebody, they went to the game, and I know Lisa's sister was trying to do a little thing under the jacket, and you remember?
He was like, oh,
right. So in my brain, I'm like, are they trying to say that Akeem hooked up with her some type of way, or So all of us, I was like, So I was getting frustrated because again, they didn't give us a lot of clues as to how he had a son in the trailer, and I was getting really agitated. But like you, Jamie, my anxiety as far as my creativity is usually really, really large, and in order for me to enjoy most movies, I have to literally turn down. I said, let me turn down and let me not come in here with those eyes, because I'll tie this movie up before it ever gets started. Yes. And then I'm gonna tell you something I did. So the first time it played in my house 4 times before I actually watched it. And so I'm up writing, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta watch Coming to America. And so it's 1 a.m. I'm like, let's go. I put it on, and I'm normally up to 3 or 4 a.m. just as who I am. But the first time I watched it, it put me to sleep. And so for me, being this anal dude, I'm like, wait a minute now, y'all. If you put me to sleep, this must be on something else, you know. And that's me still being anal, but I'm like, calm down, bro. Watch it during the day when you can give all your attention to it, you know. And so I did it, and I really had to turn all my anxiety down. I mean, I had to just turn it all down so I can watch it with pure eyes and not with critique and judgmental eyes, and with no expectation. And that's what I did, and I end up, man, freaking loving it. For all the nostalgia, for one, I love the way they connected and just built those bridges back to the first movie. And I think that was the magic for me. Was the way they could build those bridges back to the old movie, connecting the dots. I love what they did with some of the cinematography, even the age stuff. Aging Arsenio and aging. Now that the one when they aged Eddie was sort of kind of tricky. When that wildebeest got a hold to him, so that was interesting. But I love the way they aged Arsenio. I think that was good. The Eddie aging thing was sort of kind of suspect. So give me your thoughts, Jamie.
Yeah, man. When they got to that part with the deep, I think they're calling that technology deep fake. When they got to it with Eddie sitting there with Leslie Jones, there were moments when it was perfect, and then there were a couple of moments like when his facial expression changed, that it started to look like almost animated,
right?
Like cartoonish. And I was like, wait a minute now. So I know that technology is extremely sensitive. And
absolutely,
it has got to be right. So like other movies that they've done that in, they did it in a Marvel movie. They did it in one of the Avengers where they had to age Tony Stark back to when he was younger. It was perfect.
It was, yep.
They did it in the Disney's original The Mandalorian. I don't know if you guys were Mandalorian. Hey. The Mandalorian, where they brought back Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, and he came through in the lightsaber battle.
Yes, sir. And it was perfect, right? Yeah. So, but what that's saying though, we're talking about Disney technology.
Exactly.
Right. So you've got to have your budget got to be on point to get that looking that way. And I think that I heard that the number was somewhere around 120 million that Amazon paid Eddie to do it. Just initially. Now, if you ask me, in today's money, from what Coming to America is, I think that was a tad low.
That's low balling for real. Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, I don't know what he worked out, with once, because again, we've just heard recently that it is the most viewed, downloaded movie, stream movie of all time. So for me, that part that did get, Charlie, you're right. It got kind of, I was looking at it like, come on, y'all. A cartoon, but like I look at it a couple of times, like whoa, like Delwin, you see it again.
Yeah, I gotta go back and critically look at it.
Sitting there with Leslie Jones, at first it was fine. Then when he starts making faces, it looked like his eyes start going wide, like. So yeah, but no, I'm agreeing with you, Tubbs. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, and so that was my thing about it, because I knew about the 120 million number as well, and I know that's not Marvel money. They spend like twice that on their movies, but I felt like and again, I wanted it to be perfect for us. You know what I'm saying? For culture. Only because of what this idea has meant to our culture. And so I mean, with the movie, they didn't do a bad job at all. And so if I had to sort of kind of nitpick, that's probably one of the things I would probably nitpick about it. It's like, man, y'all could have gave him an extra 50 or 60 million just so we can get that mouth right.
Oh man.
I feel like so that was my frustration. So, I'm looking, what I'm saying, now I'm looking at Bezos and them like y'all on that ball. Because I mean, take care. This is for the culture. You know what I'm saying? This is for the culture. So I'm not sure if I don't know if they even felt like the energy around it. You know what I'm saying? And they should have felt it as many times as people watched the promotion, how people
Right.
responded to it on social media. I felt like before they put that thing in the can, it's like, hey, come on, bring Cletus in here. Let's fix this right here.
Yep.
And let's get this part right for the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Come on,
And
Cletus.
that was my only rub. And that's the Eddie Murphy reference too, just
Yeah,
so you know. That Cletus,
with a short walk. Yes.
Eddie Murphy is a genius, dog.
Hey, that's your favorite line of all time, dog.
Dog, Cletus. So
you're walking over, but you're limping back.
Hey, mama is what? Cletus, please.
Hey, listen, James. James, here's my favorite. My favorite one is Cletus. I'm so disappointed in you. Dog. Okay. So Delwin.
Yeah, man.
So you watched it almost 2 times. Is there anything that you would pick apart? Just I mean, if you just saw something that was weird, we're gonna get back to because we all loved it. So just to be the devil's advocate a little bit, is there anything that you would pick apart that you saw while you were watching it?
You know what, man? It was a couple spots where like Eddie had his back to the camera, and I'm like, man, that's very clearly a stand-in. That ain't Eddie. And so it was a lot of the editing, and it was the one scene that stood out the most, man, is he was talking to his bastard son, and they was they was talking about taking the whiskers from a lion, and it kept going back between the two of them, and every time it went every time the shot was centered on the bastard dude, Jamal, what was his name? Jalil. What was his name?
Something like that. Jamal.
Last name was Johnson. Last name
there
was
you
Johnson.
go.
The bastard son. And they showed the back of Eddie's head. I'm like, man, that ain't Eddie. I'm like, come on, editing like that wasn't sweet.
No, I get that. I saw that a lot in the fight scene as well. So when the fight scene at the beginning, when he's fighting with his daughters, you can see. Jamie, did you notice that?
Absolutely.
Man, that thing was driving me up the wall, man. Oh, don't do this to us. Don't do this to us.
Yeah, so I felt like that, and the movie is rich with so many lines, man. So many. I'm talking about the original was rich with so many lines, and different concepts and characters, and they brought a lot of those back. Jamie and Pat talked about this a lot last night. My wife said Eddie Ting.
Right.
But I felt like there was space, man, to bring back some more of those iconic lines. Like I felt like some things didn't need to happen. But other things like the line "I have a date with Lisa," this was what I was hoping at the end of the movie, because at a certain point Eddie was like, well, Lisa, I've just recently returned from a trip. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing, right? And she shot him down. It was hilarious. I wanted at the end of the movie for somebody to ask the king for something and for him to be like, I can't do that. I got a date with Lisa. Like I wanted the movie to end on one of those iconic lines. And
so they ended with the nah. Remember the brother and sister was playing that little game?
Yeah.
And they did that one just like the first one sort of kind of ended. So I could appreciate, that's what I said. I think the brilliance of it was the connection back to the first. So as they was building those bridges back to the first movie, and so I definitely connect with you, Del. We talk about the club scene when they went back to the clubs, and I'm like, oh yeah. And then the way they connected the story, I was like, you know what? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll rock with
it
you.
was thought through. It was thought
Right. And then let me just say this: that Leslie Jones is a whole fool.
through. The apple pie candle or the pumpkin pie
The
candle.
pumpkin, them
Hey
pumpkins.
man, go get a whole slice.
You know what was fun? One of the funny parts about Leslie, man, and when Simeon the King came to her apartment, and he was like, "I'm just taking my son," and he's like, "No, you gotta take my mom's too." And so he was like, "Okay, whatever you want to do." And so her people was like, "Yo, you gonna leave?" They was like, she looked at them and was like, "You can have all this stuff. Like, you gonna leave your whole life like you had his apartment."
Hey man,
Took a and bounced. Like, I'm out of here.
hey,
That
it was great.
hilarious.
But I thought that was one of the successes of the movies, man. That I thought the movie was successful in the sense of being a parody of the first one, but also telling us a different story, like expanding the story and giving us the opportunity to see, so many of the greats of this generation be added to that legacy. I just thought it was fantastic in the way they did that, man.
Brilliant.
I said it last night, man. For me, the biggest thing about this movie, my biggest takeaway that I loved the most was the fact that the story of coming to America, the original source material, has become legend.
In Zamunda. Yeah.
For me, I think the whole price of it, that the barber of Eddie's son, the barber, the chick that he got with was sat him down and said, "Let me tell you the story of Prince Akeem going to the land of Queens." When she did that, the picture that it painted, and she said to him, "We have heard this story since we were children. Throughout the kingdom, the standard that has been set with this story has set the standard for our lives."
Yeah.
You, Akeem, in a certain way, because he went against the grain.
Yep.
He fought for love. He left Zamunda to fight for love. This has become a legend, a lore. And so, just that much right there, I don't know why that impacted me like it did.
Yeah.
Man, I'm like, wow, their story. These were two young guys, two kids that left and went and did their thing, man, and it became legendary.
Yeah.
The fact that they did it that way, to me, was the whole movie.
No, I think that's good. That's a great point to make. And I think because all of that speaks to who the three of us are as artists, as creatives. We've never been like these traditional guys, and I think that has caused people to sort of kind of like, look at these young bucks or whatever. But we've always been sort of kind of. I know me for one. I'm gonna definitely push those envelopes as much as I can push them. Not necessarily for relevancy, but because that's who I am. I've always been the person to I've literally always been a person that dared to be different. So if everybody was wearing jeans that day, I'm gonna wear a whole suit in this mug. I've always been that person. I'm gonna dare to be different. But the whole idea was to, even in my daring to be different, was to also remain relevant, saying as well. So I think that story connected with us because I connected with that as well. I'm like, yeah, that's sort of kind of who we are. And I think that's the thing that makes us stand out as leaders and that makes us as relevant as we are as leaders is because we don't do things the traditional way. You know what I'm saying? We figured out a way to be current in our processes, but to do it slightly different where it's attractive to people that may be looking up to us or that may need to hear our message. We don't do everything like the old school way of doing things. So I think that's probably why that message connected with us the most. I love also what they did as far as women empowerment.
Yes, man.
Man, when I say I'm a natural empath and all that stuff was just like waterworks for me. I'm like, yeah, Eddie, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
Because I feel like our society does have a lot of testosterone, masculine toxicity that sort of kind of runs the world. And it's just that it's masculine toxicity, and we don't elevate and celebrate women as much as we probably should. And so I love that he took the time to make sure that that was the main theme, sort of kind of the theme of the movie. You know what I'm saying? How do we, keep women as a forefront? And I also love the fact that he played with it a little bit too. He talked about how negative that he was towards females, like the old cat in the theater in the barbershop. So yeah, back in my day though, I used to do.
Yeah.
I loved all of that connection to, back then I may have been a little out of pocket, but I recognized where I need to be, and to celebrate. This is a space that I'm in where I'm uplifting women and empowering women. I thought that was just dope as ever. So, Delwin, give me your thoughts about that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm a girl dad, and my wife is high powered, man. And so, for me, seeing that in film, I thought it was redemptive. You know what I'm saying? Like it was in the first film, Jamie. I had never even thought about the fact that he went against the grain, because the first movie was so funny that like the funny just overwhelmed everything for me. And so it was classic in that way. But when you look at it from a different lens, it's like, yeah, he went against the grain. So you get that message. But I felt like the message of women empowerment in this one, it is, I think to say it's culturally relevant is actually trite. I don't think that's powerful enough. You know what I mean? Because what we're in now is not just a moment, like it's moving forward. And so I also thought it was great that you saw the evolution in Eddie, even in his own thinking throughout the movie. You know what I mean? So he had these girls or whatever, but it took for him to have some hard conversations with his wife. It took for all of these things to happen for him to come around and be the powerful man that he is. And being that powerful man, he did what was right and empowered his daughter, and gave her the opportunity to rule whenever he was done. And so I thought about it from a perspective of, I can't show this whole movie to my kids, but that part of it feels like, yeah, that's something I would want my girls to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what was equally dope too is I love the fact that it was definitely about women empowerment, but I think it also helped us to, and I think as men watch this movie, I want to challenge men to self-check, only because we don't even realize it. I know my dad is actually the coolest dad ever, but growing up, he was real hard and real stern, and that's just who he was. He's not like nowhere near that now. And so I think as men and as women too, I don't think we realize how we can slip right into becoming who our parents were just because that's all we know. That's all we've been exposed to, and not even recognizing, whoa, wait a minute. My parents did it that way only because that's the only way they knew how to do it.
That's all they knew. Yep.
Right. So now we're exposed to a lot more information. We're exposed to a lot more thanks to the internet. And so then with that being said, then we have to start looking at the world differently and looking at how we raise our children, or looking at how we communicate differently. So I loved all those in between the lines. I loved all of that. I'm like, yes, sir. And the fact that, Eddie got checked by his wife and got checked by his daughter. And just like everybody was checking him, he couldn't see. He was so blind to doing it his dad's way that he really couldn't see it. And it took the bastard to sort of kind of communicate. And we're like, wow, I'm out here wrong on these streets. And so I say this as I'm coaching a lot of parents to not neglect the fact that while you're raising children, that they also have the power to raise you as well. Because they come here with fresh eyes. They come here with fresh eyes. They don't come here with prejudices. They come here honest as ever. They come here old people. They really do. And so if you want honesty, ask your child. They're going to let you know what's up. They're going to let you know the real. And so we can't neglect the fact that while we're raising them, they're raising us. Yep. And so I just love the fact that Eddie wrote himself in this movie, or Akeem, as someone that was clear enough to say, wait a minute, I'm out here wrong in these streets. Let me adjust. Let me adjust where I'm at. and let me become better for what my kids may need and what the next generation of my country needs. So, Jamie, speak to that.
So the biggest thing that I got from that particular messaging was one word: balance. Balance. And balance is the key to living life. I'm telling you, I'm not that old of a guy, but one of the things that I've learned about living on this planet is that you have got to balance yourself out. You got to balance. So here's what I looked at. Everything both of y'all just said, that Eddie, well, let me say it from this perspective. When you are young, there is a certain courage, there's a certain blind ambition and exuberance that you have as a young person. And Charlie just said it about young eyes, young ideas. And you're not mature enough to know whether you're right or wrong. When you're younger, you just have these feelings, these emotions, these inclinations, these ideas, these feelings, and you just go at it, right? You just go for it. And what happens is that when we become older, there's something in us that wants to embrace responsibility. And that's correct. That is a correct evolution, as particularly with men. As you're getting older, you're supposed to embrace being responsible, being a responsible adult. The issue is, and we see it in the movie, is that we become so responsible sometimes that we abandon that youthful exuberance and courage and ambition. That part of us is still there. It's still inside of us, but we have tucked it away, reaching towards responsibility and trying to be a responsible man. Akeem was trying to be Jaffe Joffer. He was the king. And so he knew, man, I've done the unthinkable. I defied the law. I defied those statutes that were Zamundan history. I went against that. And I did something different. And he forgot how courageous. That's when I talk about having that youthful courage. That was a courageous thing to say to the king, I don't want who you want for me. I want who I want. I want to fall in love and to live differently than I know you and mama did that. You and a alien, y'all did that, but I don't want a alien. Right. But I don't want to live my life like that. I want to fall in love with somebody. I want to connect with somebody. And so courageously, he went against the grain and said, I'm out of here. I'm going to the land of queens and I'm going to find my queen, right? So he forgot about that. And so the key is taking that youthful courage and that youthful ambition and forging it and melding it with that grown man responsibility. And then like this, balancing it all out. And so that's the key to it, man. That is the key to it. People, I mean, if you look around my room right now, what do you see behind me?
Right.
People say to me all the time, oh man, wow, what are you doing, man? What's going on with you? Because I got to a point in my life where I felt like things were just too serious. Everything was just so serious and just so life-threatening, and every decision that has to be made could end someone's life or start some war or whatever. And I got to the point where I said, man, I've never been that kind of guy. I've always been the guy who laughs a lot and who enjoys life and who smiles. And no matter what's going on, I'm gonna have a good time. I'm the guy in the room that's gonna make you laugh. We're gonna have a good time. And I got to the point where I was just like, man, life was sucking that out of me. I was so tuned in being a father and a husband and trying to raise responsible adults. All of that stuff, man, is a lot. It's a heavy weight.
You're speaking to me, man.
If you take that youthful exuberance and the light in your eyes, we all had light in our eyes when we were young. And look again, see again, like you saw when you were younger, and then you meld that with the responsibility. Now you can live. You
Yeah.
can, because I get it all. I just got to learn how to do this.
Yeah.
That was a great, for me, seeing that. A lot of people miss that. Both of y'all just laid it out, man. That's what it is. Balance.
Yeah.
His bastard child from another country, his wife and his daughter, to slap him back into focus. And he's, hey man, I'm a king. I'm the dude that defied all odds to turn this thing around. And I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
That's a great film, man. If people, you know what I mean? If
Absolutely.
And extract that from it, that's amazing.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's definitely that movie is definitely good for the culture. And one of my favorite books, I forget the author, but one of my favorite books that I've read is called When Wisdom Meets Passion, and that's pretty much that's it in a nutshell. Is when the wisdom, and sometimes that comes with age, or definitely, no, sometimes it does. It comes with age and experience and trial and error, but when you can marry the wisdom in your life with the passion of your youth, you getting ready to turn everything in the world upside down. But that is the balance that Jamie was talking about. We gotta, you can't listen, you gotta everybody stay childish, please. I don't understand how we grow out of being a kid. So anytime I'm on live with Jamie, I get excited because I'm seeing all those figures behind him, like, man, I'm just like, I'm turned up over that alone, because it's like, yeah, that connects me back to a place when it was real. You know what I'm saying? When my passion was real and my creativity was on point. I don't want to ever lose that. So it is definitely marrying the wisdom of life with the passions of your youth. And that's how you get ready to turn this thing upside down. Because you're right. And I think church does that too. It helps us to be serious. Like, don't step on that line. That's a crack. Your mama back may break, at the same time. You be like, God, and so I'm telling you, dog, I'm telling you, man, church can make you feel, but me, I promise you, I learned early in my ministry how to break out of that box and just be outside of that box all the time. I think it's helped me to be creative. Dog, listen, when we get off this live, I'm going to send y'all a creative project that I'm working on right now. It is not for the religious at heart at all, but it's funny. So if you know me and you know my sense of humor, it's funny. It's crazy.
I gotta see it.
But the thing about it, and it goes against everything that we was raised to talk about and whatever, but it's right there in the pocket. And if you can see past some of the language, perhaps, then you'll be able to get some solid content from it. One, because that's just who I am. When I'm writing, I write with inspiration in mind, obviously, definitely entertainment. So you're gonna get some craze somewhere in there. Yep. But I also write to illuminate ignorance. And I appreciate that all those elements were in this film. All those elements were in this film. And so that's how, as a writer, I fell in love with this film. Of course, it's not anything that Shonda writes. You know what I'm saying? It's not what it is. Shonda don't write comedies either. Right. And so, but I think for what it was, I love that it paid respect to the old while connecting with the new. And I loved all the bridges that it built. Bro, it was a beautiful film. And where I promise you, I went into this thing like, oh, let me go. I need to let me get my anxiety down. I feel like they're gonna mess it up. I promise you, when I watched it, I was like, I promise you, I was nervous at the beginning. Again, because my eyes are sharp. And so I saw everything that we talked about. Like I saw when during the fight scene and this guy was standing in there. I'm like, Ed, come on, man. Eddie, come on. Y'all could have cleaned that up better than that. You know what I'm saying? And so, I knew they had the money. I just felt like maybe they spent it in all the wrong places. Perhaps they couldn't get the editing and that the animation right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because Eddie was sitting there like he's about to have a stroke, Doc. I'm like, oh no. When that wildebeest.
The wild boy.
So listen. So Jamie, listen. Jamie, hold on. So listen. So that was funny, and it was funny to me. I'm saying the two ways it was funny. Two ways it was funny because you sort of kind of get that. A big Leslie Jones coming at you. That's okay. get some of that show. But I knew from a writing and a producer standpoint, I knew that wasn't intentional. I just knew that was some animation errors they couldn't quite get right. And so, but I mean, hats off to Eddie, to the cast, Arsenio, all of them did a phenomenal job, man. I love let me tell you somebody that took me out in this film. That obviously he's not known for being a comedian, but this dude is insane. So that Wesley Snipes dog.
Hey, the Jamaican African accent, dog.
Dog.
Hey, he was hilarious.
Wesley's an actor.
Yes, he is, man.
Now, here's a deal. Eddie Murphy, I saw an interview where they were talking about pre-production of the film, and Eddie said originally he was going to play that part.
Okay.
Yeah. He said the reason that he didn't do it was because there was an edge to General Issy that he needed it to be edgy. And he said that he didn't know that whether he could do it or not. But he said even if he conjured it up, he didn't want people to miss it because they were laughing at him. Because it had to be edgy too. So his head, he was like, yo, I just got through doing the Dolomite film with Wesley. Get Wesley. Because people, and he also said, listen, people forget that Wesley is a comedic actor. Once he started doing the action movies and started showing people that he knew martial arts and all of that, they forget that he did White Man Can't Jump. They forget that he did with
Wong Fu with Love
with Patrick Swayze. They forget he can be funny as well. So Eddie was like, I think Wesley would kill this, but Eddie was supposed to be crazy.
Hey man, Wesley Snipes was hilarious. And what killed me, dog, is the name of his country was Next Door. Next Door. Oh man. I said, man, that is hilarious. Not that they couldn't think of nothing, but because it's Next Door here.
Yeah. Dog, so that's great, man. And so that just shows you that this movie still has, in my opinion, some legendary moments in it that I feel like fans of the franchise would. I mean, if you were a fan of the first one, you would definitely really enjoy this one. Again, if you take the critical eyes off of it. And but me, this is a moment of clarity. I like to talk about the critical stuff because it is relevant, it is valid. But I mean, it's such a it's done so well. Wesley Snipes, if you have not seen that Dolomite movie, listen, Wesley Snipes makes that movie for me. He really oh man.
I gotta check it out.
Dog, when I say funny, dog, Wesley Snipes, man, oh my God, that Wesley Snipes, dog, man, he kills the role in that movie, man, and he just brings a whole other level of comedy, even though the movie's about Dolomite, Rudy Ray Moore, who's naturally funny, and Eddie Murphy did a great job of doing that, but that Wesley, bruh, he brought that just that I was not ready for it. So, Jaden, I'm sorry, you were saying something?
No. I was just saying, Wesley is an amazing actor, man. He's got so many levels and layers to what he does, and I'm glad he was in it. I heard people saying that Wesley was his performance was terrible, and I just couldn't see what they saw. I'm like, what? So
no, he was great, man. He was he was comedic, but you could tell he was supposed to be a funny dude.
Right.
You could tell he was supposed to be a joke. So like he came in tough or whatever, but you could tell he played his role exactly the way it was supposed to be played.
Man, it was brilliant. It was brilliant, bro. It was brilliant on every level, man. Again, so for all you people that had an issue with Wesley Snipes, man, listen, you got to look at it with different eyes. I'm telling you, Wesley killed his role. Yeah, I mean, he brought the serious when he needed to be serious, and it was believable when he was serious. But and even though he was supposed to be serious, I feel like because I understood the connection and the way they tied all that stuff together, I thought it was just really, really dope. Yeah. To bring back the wife that Eddie didn't choose, and she hopping around there, man. Listen. All that was brilliant, bro. The way they just tied all that together, man. I just like,
Yeah,
Good job.
frenzy.
What'd you say, James?
I said she had barked herself into a frenzy.
Yeah, man.
She's been barking
Dog.
for.
Man, it was brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So listen, for those of you that have watched the movie, and if you got, hopefully we talked about most of the technical stuff that could have been probably missed, or maybe that you may consider to be a negative for the movie. But listen, overall, I mean, dope, dope, dope film. I hope it gets. Listen, and I always say this, man. I know it may be too late, but when I say they should get all types of awards for them costumes, bruh,
Yeah.
man, dog. Listen,
I
James.
think I think the costumes, because if you remember in the first film, the opulence that first movie had, period. Like talking about it last night. Those are the beginning stages and the places that plant the seeds in the minds that later became what we saw. Right? If we had never seen what John Landis and Eddie did creating Zamunda and that kind of Black excellence and royalty, we wouldn't have had Wakanda the way we had it. So it's like it was so iconic, man. And so I forget the lady's name. We talked about it last night, but she was the same lady that worked on Black Panther and the wardrobe in Black Panther. Amazing. They look, I'm telling you, Tubbs, a couple of times there were some blazers that Eddie had on as King. I'm like, man, they killing this. Oh my God, it's just absolutely amazing. And shout out to Eddie's daughter too. Eddie's daughter was in it. I don't know if you knew that, Delwin.
Was she the middle daughter?
Yeah, the middle girl. That was his.
Yeah.
So shout out to Eddie's daughter, man. That was dope. Her first project, being on screen with your dad. I know that had to be dope for her.
Yeah. All that was dope, man. So I mean, overall, people all we're trying to say is that it's a dope film. Don't sleep on it. And I think only open-minded people move the world forward. And so if you're gonna watch anything, anything, you got to do it with open mind. You have to. And that's with anything. So Jen might only said that to say, when I send y'all this link, do it with an open mind.
I know you, so
it's gonna be hilarious, man.
Yeah. So listen. So I know that goes without saying, because y'all know I'm crazy in real life. And so even what y'all are seeing on this podcast is still light. It's still light. Right. I can take you there. I can take you there. For real. Hey, James, listen. I was talking to. Listen. I had hit up one of my friends. Something was happening, and listen, this lady was giving him all types of attention. And I said, y'all. Dog, listen, man, he didn't know how it was. He was like, he was screaming like, he said, dude, why'd you do that to me? And I was like, hey man, you gotta be on point. You gotta be in the pocket with me, because I'll snatch you out. I'll snatch you clean out. Dog. So listen, hey fellas, listen, I appreciate y'all doing this with me. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got a chance to do this. Delwin, you have new music that's coming out, so that's definitely noteworthy. So, bruh, I just listened to this track. So listen, tell our audience more about that.
Yeah, man. So the thing I got coming out in a couple weeks is called The Pain of Saturday. And I mean, if you can put yourself in this position, right? You think about Jesus's apostles, other than Judas, who was the betrayer. They had just given their lives to following Jesus, giving up their careers, followed him for 3 years. They thought he was the one, and then he got killed. And they fled. They ran away because they could have been killed as well. Even the apostle Peter denied even being a disciple of Jesus at that point, because he understood what it meant. And so this happens on Friday, the worst day in history for them, and they felt it. What do you do on Saturday? What do you do the day after your absolute worst day has happened? Now, we all know that Sunday was the best day that ever happened. They didn't know Sunday was coming. They had no idea Sunday was coming. So the
God,
song is the pain of Saturday, and it's asking the question, how do you hope and how do you pray? How do you face the pain that comes the day after the worst day of your life?
I love it.
So and it has some redemptive qualities toward the end, but yeah, you can pick it up. The Friday before Good Friday was at the 26th, March 26th. Spotify,
man,
iTunes, Tidal, wherever you get your music.
listen. So listen, let's come back. Let's come back and talk through that. I think that's beautiful, bro. I think that's a message that's so relevant for everybody that's experiencing life, right up and through here. And I think it's a global message that everybody needs to hear, man.
Yeah.
Because people are definitely that have had a Friday night experience and they're trying to cope with Saturday.
Yeah.
And so, bro, I think it's brilliant. I just love the way I love the way you come at concepts and ideals, bruh. It's freaking phenomenal, man. So I just love the hope that you bring to the world, man, through your music. So yeah, man. Did you send me all the stuff for the cover?
I need to send it to you. Hey,
Send it to me.
can I say one other thing, Tubbs?
Yep, absolutely.
One, I haven't seen Jamie. I haven't talked to Jamie or seen Jamie's face in a long time. For anybody's listening, I want to let y'all know that Jamie Simon is the pathway to every musical influence in my life, man.
Wow.
The pathway to I tell this to people on interviews and podcasts, on stages or whatever. I used to go to Borders. on 95th, close to Evergreen Plaza in Chicago. If you
that 95th and Western.
Yeah, close to Western. I would go on Borders and call Jamie and like, yo, man, I'm in the CD section. Who I need to listen to? Tell me who to pick up. And Jamie would be like, Peter Cetera.
Man.
Or he, man, you need to pick up, you need to listen to Steve Perry. You need to pick up some Journey. Right. Or, you need to pick up some Bill Withers. And whatever you said, I'm like, I got 17 CDs, just thumbing through and going and listening to that stuff and crafting my sound, man, and checking out them liner notes and figuring out, fine tunes, the finer points of writing as best I can, man. I owe that all to Jamie Simon, man. So yeah, anybody who's listening, that's my pops.
Wow.
And yeah.
Real.
That's dope, bro. That's dope.
He's right. That happened, man. And I can hear it in his pen. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to do that. Because when you have the kind of ability that Delwin has to write, you got to hear other stuff to kind of get that thing cranking. And so listening to the greats.
Yeah.
That iron sharpens iron, man. It happens. It doesn't matter where you are, whether it is spiritual or non-spiritual, iron sharpens iron, man.
Yep.
That was what it was about. And you can hear it in his pen. That's amazing. Absolutely, man.
Man, listen, I say this, and I think I said this on the last podcast that you and I were on Delwin. And Jamie, you probably attest to this. I don't even think Delwin even realizes like how strong his pen game is. Like, dog. It's like, man, dog. I promise you, man. During the podcast that we was listening to some old stuff he had forgot about, and he was, I forgot I wrote. I was like, dog, you sleeping on this stuff, bro.
Hey,
so
man.
yeah, your pen game is strong, man. I mean, strong, and so you need to. I mean, and I love that you're doing. I love that you're recording and putting stuff out, man. I do. I want to hear more, bro, because you got stuff in you. You got stuff that you recorded that you need to bring back because it's still fire and still relevant to this day, man. There's nothing that you've ever created, Delwin, that's been a mistake. There's nothing that you've ever created that's been a mistake or been bad. It's all been good. And so the moment we learn to appreciate him, like, oh man, this is valuable too. Everything that comes out of us, it will be an indictment against the creator to allow you to create something that's bad. So so you cannot, none of us can create anything bad. And so once you realize that, you'll be more free and open to be like, oh yeah, dog. Yeah, that's me over there. And I'm saying, don't forget about none of it. I'm telling you. And if I gotta be a constant reminder of some of these songs that you put out, bruh, because I'm telling you, I'm waiting to do something with that 91, dog. am flying in a thousand fall. Oh, I am covered. Oh, man,
Hey
dog,
man.
bruh.
Hey.
It's relevant right now, bro. That's why I was telling you we gotta hurry up and put out 23
Mm.
because it's relevant right now. People are hopeless, and even though Trump, I understand Trump brought the dark days, but even though we have a new administration, it's still. I mean, you can see hope, but people still need hope. I mean,
Yeah.
because there are people that have lost so much, bro. I mean, yeah,
And
these people
bro,
lost so much during this time, and so our hearts goes out to people that have lost so much. Because one, the pandemic for one, but then all these natural disasters that sort of kind of been hitting the country, people have lost so much, man. And so it is incumbent upon us as creatives to make sure we're spewing that hope in the world because there
Mm.
is a better tomorrow if you can hold on to see it. It's going to be greater later. If you can hold on to see it, it's going to be
Hey.
greater. And so I just appreciate. I mean, I listen. I have the utmost respect for both of y'all, and so I'm just fanning these flames because you all definitely have been great inspirations to me creatively. I mean, and I've co-written songs with both of you guys, and I
yep.
mean, I can go back and let me like this is gonna be something when we pull this thing together. And
Hey,
because
hey,
James, I'm gonna be calling you, dude. I gotta tell you about this. I'm about to go to see you like in 2 weeks to go ahead and finish up Chill with you. It's going down, and we're gonna kill it too. I'm ready for it. I was telling Delwin that I have a lot of meetings because I'm coaching clients and then I have a lot of events or whatever that I'm working on virtually. And I'll be in the comments like they were like, so Charlie, do you have anything to say? Leave in the comments, nigga. Because I'm trying to just preserve my voice, you know.
hey, man. Hey, can I tell y'all a song that comes to my mind so often, dog?
What is it?
No jingle bells, no chestnuts
Uh,
roasting.
now I
We
forgot.
barely have bread for toasting.
Toasting.
What
What
in
in
the
the world
world will we
do we
do
do
about
about
Christmas?
Christmas? Yes, sir.
I forgot all about that tune.
Jamie
No,
Simon, man.
listen. I'm listen.
Although we know.
Oh, God
Woo!
is. I'm telling you, dog. James,
I,
listen. I'm telling. Listen. When the world get back right again, all that stuff. I'm telling you, all that stuff, dog. We're gonna lay it down. I promise you, because there's a lady that was on my podcast, and when I did the greatest gift in Fresno a couple years ago, she said to me, she said, I had never in my life, and I can't wait you guys to see the updated version of the greatest gift because I treated it and redid it. But listen, when she says I have never in my life seen anything like that, and she said I've gone to a number of Christmas plays. I have never seen anything like that. And she said that I think she was due. I think she was like what Red Fox said to at Harlem Nights. She was by Sunshine, make a man change gods. I think she was right. Dog, listen. Dog, listen. Dog, she was right there. Dog, I promise you, she was about listen, dog. She was about to be a switch hitter. I'm telling you, she was
wow.
about to change gods.
Uh,
And but she came and she saw the greatest gift, and she was like, I have never seen anything like that. And the fact that we added the obviously the urban elements to it, and we communicated the story in a way anybody can grasp it. And of course, the comedy that we added to it, that just made it, relevant and relatable. And shoot, she had tears now. She said, I have never seen anything like that. She said, you have no idea how much you've restored my faith from seeing this. And I was just like, wow. So you just never know the impact that you have on people. That's why it's just important to remain hopeful, obviously, and continue to write from that space. So thank y'all, man, because y'all a big part of both of you are a big part of the greatest gift and helping to communicate that message. That no jingle bells, sir.
I forgot about the tune.
hey
That
man,
thing got a thing on it. You hear me?
what in the world? Man, it's so human.
Yeah.
This song is so freaking human, dog.
That's
Oh man,
wow.
But listen, Delwin, do you
Jamie, you got.
remember?
I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
sorry, Jamie. Jamie, you got this ability to speak from the most human, just the most human place, man. It's James Taylor-esque
Yeah,
in a
man.
way. I'm serious, man, because James has a way of bringing you into the exact moment that he's in.
God, he
You
does.
know what I'm saying? This
That's
land was a lovely green. It reminds me of my old home. But dog, the way that you write takes me into your living room.
wow.
It takes me into your prayer closet. I don't want to be like this,
Oh
man. I'll tear my office up right now, dog.
yeah.
Because that song, when
Yeah.
you backsliding,
Man.
you put it on.
No, that like this is that's one of them crazy ones, man. That people when we did it, people were actually had heard it in prison and they were calling the radio station. I never forget it, man, because I recorded it. I couldn't believe that there were guys that were incarcerated that were hearing that song and they were calling in like, yo, I've never heard nothing like that before, but it spoke to me where I am. And it made me recollect some of the things I've done, some of the decisions I've made. That's what I feel because I didn't grow up the way I grew up. I grew up on a better path. I don't even know how I got here. Like I recorded it, man. I was listening to the radio that day, and the host told me like, "Yo, you need to listen," because some people have been calling in and requesting it every week. And I just happened to listen that day, man. And these guys were calling from prison. I'm like, wow. So you just never know, man, what your story will do for other people because we're all human and we're all having this same it's the human condition. We're all having the same journey. Everybody's trying to figure it out. And songs like that, I guess they reach people. Everybody, I think, especially particularly if you're a Christian, everybody at some point has said that.
Yeah, and it's Pauline too, man. I know that there's a way that I should act. Sometimes I don't act that way. It's like that when I want to do good, evil is present. Oh, dog, I have yet to write something as simple and as effective as that in my career as a writer. And I hope one day to get to the point of stating something so simply that everybody's like, man, yeah, that's me right there.
I appreciate it.
I don't want to be like this.
Right?
Dog. Yeah.
Wow, Dylan.
man, listen. So hands down. So this is definitely a recap of a lot of the things that we talked about. I promise you. Yeah, like this is one of those songs. I promise you. I mean, it don't matter whether you slide backwards or forward. If you got anything slippery under your feet, I'm telling you. This song will get you right there. I promise you. It'll get you right. Let me get some stability in my life. I'm telling you.
Right.
It's one of the songs that challenges you, and I think that's what we don't have enough. It's one of those songs that make you accountable. Like you need an accountability partner. You're like, but you need the type of accountability partner that can relate to your human experience as well.
Yeah.
Because you have some people want to hold you accountable, like, hey man, hold your drawers up, and theirs is down. It's like, come on, dog. You know what I'm saying? And so so it's like, come on, dog, how you gonna come at me like that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
How you gonna come at me like that? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, y'all know I ain't rapped that right. But either way, God loves me all the same. Anyway, but I appreciate these talks, man. Because they're real. They always come from an honest place, and I appreciate one. I say this to every writer. I appreciate each one of you all for yielding yourself to those moments, because we're inspired on so many different. We're always inspired to do something, but at the end of the day, it's something magical happens when we yield to that and start creating out of the space. And so I to get a song like this to come out of you, Jamie. You know what I'm saying? And man, especially Delwin, all the stuff that you write, you got to be yielding, man. And so I appreciate you guys yielding to get that stuff, to extract that level of greatness and that level of rawness and human emotion and real raw honesty and authenticity. You got to be yielded. And so I appreciate you guys yielding, because we'll never have any of these songs until we talking about if you all don't yield. So I thank you for yielding, and I just want to encourage you: don't stop pausing, don't stop believing, yeah, whatever. But I appreciate you guys staying yielded to produce this stuff, man. So
Yeah,
I celebrate you. I celebrate you. You're two of my favorite artists, man. And so I just appreciate you guys taking the time. We started late, so I apologize. If we started late, we had some technical difficulties, but technology ain't 100%. You know what I'm saying? It ain't 100%. And so you just sort of kind of rolled the punches. So nevertheless, we got it on here. So I'm gonna probably do a watch party later on this week, just because the conversations were great. And we got on here to talk about Coming to America. So if it's a great movie. You definitely should check it out, but do it with fresh eyes. Okay. If you can do it and just be like ready to laugh and ready to have fun, it's going to take you on that journey. It's going to take you on that ride. Has some great messaging in it. Messaging that's relevant to right now. And so they did a great way again of just, it's a beautiful cloth that was woven together right. And
Yep.
I just appreciate all of it. I appreciate the legends that were in it. It was good to see James Earl Jones still in it. Oh man, all that stuff was beautiful. Hey, listen, one last thing, we gotta go. But listen, how about he said, "I'm dying now." Listen, when I say, dog, when I first saw it, I was like,
Hey, he went to his funeral to die.
Yeah.
Dog, I thought that was. Dog, I thought it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was brilliant, man. It was brilliant on so many levels, man. And
Yeah,
when I was first time I saw it, I was screaming. He said, "Aki, goodbye." Oh man, dog, it was a beautiful idea, man.
Yeah,
Such a beautiful idea and a beautiful concept. Obviously, to be able to watch your home going and see people celebrate your life and your legacy. I thought it was a beautiful idea, and I think it screams that message that we hear in the church: "Give me my flowers," whatever.
Yep.
So it was a beautiful idea, dude. I loved it. So all you critical people, I don't know what you guys are looking for. Yeah. So, but it was a great movie. Great movie.
I got something here, man. Before we go, I know it's time to go, but I got somebody here that wants to peek in and say hi before we go. I just, we're in this room, and so I thought this would be very fitting to let this guy come in.
Yes.
Come on, Randy. Come on.
Oh wow.
Come on, Randy.
The dog, brother.
Dog. Great job, sir.
Yes, man. That's
great
perfect.
Job. Thank you, man. Oh, Randy, sir.
Randy Watson. Yeah.
Dog, that was dope, man. Dog, thank you so much for that, man. Thank you guys for being a part of this process. This was dope, man. Jamie, I know you're always working on stuff, man. So we always have a lot of great stuff to talk about. So I enjoy connecting with you with that. Delwin, man, I love all the stuff you're working on, man. Continue putting out music, man. Anyways, obviously you have us in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out to us, man. We got you. Let's go, man. We got a world of change and a world that is waiting earnestly for the manifestations of the sons of God. So let's make sure that we are shining. Let's make sure that we are lit every time we do anything that we do, because that stuff is attractive. That's what makes people pay attention to us. And I'm telling you, what we put out in the earth is just the bait. You know what I'm saying? Lazarus was just the bait. You know what I'm saying? So people came to see Lazarus, but they heard Jesus.
Yep.
And so whatever we put out, and when people come back to us and they're able to hear our story, then they can hear the redemption. They can hear, you know what I'm saying? So we have to put out and create as much as possible in this season, only because that's just the bait. And once it dials back to us and we in interviews and doing all these things, when people get to hear us and hear our story, then that's when it really, really matters, because that's the real relatability. So, gentlemen, thank you guys for your time. Of course, I love you guys. We can all day. I appreciate your time. Thank you guys for being a part of this process. And then, listen, guys, stay tuned. Definitely follow Charles III, aka Gentray. There are a lot of cool things we got coming down the pike. So, listen, follow Jamie Simon. Follow always Delwin Eiland. It's a whole vibe. Listen, thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Moments of Clarity. Stay positive, stay creative, and most importantly, guys, stay clear. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.